We need to talk about the next leader of the Liberal Party. Mark Carbon Tax Carney has been out on the elitist speaking circuit. He's been unveiling his philosophies and his beliefs and his approach to government, but only to a select group of Liberal insiders. He's not actually talking to Canadians. He's talking to the Liberal donor base, the Liberal activist base, the little club of elites in Canada who want to run your life for you.
We can't meet our ultimate objectives, which is to get to net zero, unless we do not just have a cap on emissions, but those emissions are brought effectively to zero.
So he's not really unpacking for Canadians what he would do when he takes over from Justin Trudeau. But what we do know about his beliefs are already very concerning. You see, he loves the carbon tax that has driven up the cost of everything, made your fuel, home heating, and groceries more expensive. Mark Carney loves that. He also loves to talk down Canada's oil and gas sector. He badmouths it all around the world. He even calls for government policy to leave our natural resources in the ground.
Maybe up as much as half of oil reserves, proven reserves, need to stay in the ground if we're going to get to where we are.
Which obviously would have a devastating effect on the hundreds and thousands of Canadian men and women who work each and every day in that sector.
What's in the interest, the public interest first and foremost, very low emission, scope 1, scope 2, hydrocarbon production.
And here's the scary thing about Mark Carney. You see, as he attacks the Canadian men and women who work in our country's natural resource sector, he is actually the chair of Brookfield Asset Management. Now, what does Brookfield Asset Management do? They invest in oil and gas projects. The only trouble is, not here in Canada. Brookfield is part of a consortium of financial institutions that have taken a 49% stake in the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company's gas infrastructure. They're also big investors in the East-West pipeline in India, which carries gas from the country's southeast to Gujarat in the west. A $2 billion stake representing 90% of that project. Mark Carney wants to take over Justin Trudeau's job. So he has an obligation to come clean with Canadians. What is he going to do with the carbon tax? How much new deficit and debt is he going to rack up? How much higher would inflation and interest rates go if Mark Carney takes over from Justin Trudeau? Now, Carbon Tax Carney and the other Liberal elitists, they like to travel around the world playing with people's lives. They like to sit in their ivory towers and make rules and plans for the rest of us to follow, while they never have to face the harsh consequences of their terrible policies. This already shows that he's going to follow in the same steps as Justin Trudeau. Rules for everyone else while they get to live their protected lifestyles. Well, the very least he can do is come clean with Canadians. Show up at committee, answer questions, and be honest with the people of this country about what he would do when he takes over from Justin Trudeau. Tomorrow, Conservatives will move a motion at Finance Committee calling on Mark Carney to come and testify and be accountable for his positions and his policies. So watch tomorrow. The NDP have a choice. They can either vote with Conservatives for maximum transparency and accountability, or they will vote once again to cover for Justin Trudeau and protect him and his successor from scrutiny from Canadians.